So, welcome to PSX 747 Atlas. Many have asked what exactly is Aerowings PSX and why is it in 2D? Basically, it's a standalone 747 cockpit. And why is it in 2D? Well, quite simply, this all gets used in flight simulators like the Simfest UK, Qantas 2.5, and for myself, who doesn't have a full cockpit, I use the 2D panels as they come as standard. These can all be adjusted. You can have overheads, FMC, and your display can be resized, etc. With a basic look out the window where you only see the lights. There's no scenery or anything. So for connecting this to Microsoft Flight Sim, we need to have different bits of software running. So the first thing we need to do is start the server and the boost. Then we go in and we start the router. Which is this little bit of software here. Then we open up Microsoft Flight Sim. Unfortunately, it does take a wee while to load up. I'm using Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 Service Update 4 Beta. The PSX software does run with P3D, Microsoft Flight Sim and X-Plane. Although X-Plane uses an additional software to connect called X-View. So once we get to the start screen, we select the start and free flight. Now for whatever reason Microsoft tends to pause here for a small time. Okay, so then we select the aircraft. And we look for the PSX aircraft, which is there. Now we can configure this. Why is that one back to that aircraft? Select, configure. That's better. So we can choose either British Airways, which is the current colour scheme, Singapore, Lufthansa, Japan, Cargo Lux. And just to show off what we're doing, we'll choose the British Airways. And then what we do is we go and open up another software called the client. So once you've got the two greens, we are connected. PSX is connected to MSFS. Now, if I remember correctly, we are in Rome, I think. I'm just going to choose Heathrow, the runway, because we're not online, so I'm not starting on VATSIM on the runway, but we'll select that. Obviously, we are no longer at Heathrow where I chose to select. The PSX software knows that we are at the last airport flown, which was Lima Tango Foxtrot Mike, actually, so it's Istanbul. So we click ready to fly. And that's us on the ground, fully ready. Obviously my parking skills was actually a little bit better than what it's loaded up, but as I started at Heathrow and it's manoeuvred itself back to here, it's lunged forward a wee bit. So what we can do is go to the client situation and load. So we are at LTFM. Load that and that puts us back to there. Obviously it takes a wee while for the router and the client to sync everything up. Hence why it's still rising. Also because I'm using the service update for when I'm on external view, my frames in PSX drop. So we're back up at 62 frames in PSX. So now that we are all set up, we have some additional software that we run. So we run the BAcars and the Sounds. So you should on the video be able to hear the difference in the sounds from when I started this. You can hear the electrical buzz, the air conditioning, etc. So what is the BAcars? Well, BAcars is the ACARS software, and because we use a Simfest planning portal, I'm going to move on to that screen so you don't see my username and password. This is just the world flight I was testing, so there's the next flight, LTFM Istanbul to Amman, which is world flight leg 24. We can plan that. Put in your captain, first officer and social secretary, etc. Then what would happen is, once that is created the flight plan, you would go into init, put in the 4-digit code, press yes, and then init data request, and that gives you your flight details. That would load up your fuel and your weights, etc. And one other piece of software that we need to run is PSX.net. Now what this does is it controls the doors of the aircraft. Also enables us to turn on the external power, chocks, bleed air, etc. It also connects with the PSX AFB, which I've got on the tablet. Now, as you can see, the fuel is currently loading. It's taking the information from the flight, the latest flight plan, loading in our zero fuel weight and our fuel. We can do our pushback from here, or we can do it through the AFB, which links through this software. And that is how you connect PSX with the visuals of MSFS 2024. Now, someone asked about malfunctions. There's a whole load of malfunctions that you can have. You can have them on a timer. You can set them to activate straight away. Or you can have random failures within a flight phase. So you can have it in the departure phase, cruise, or the arrival. You can have it where it's undemanding, moderate, critical, or excessive. I generally keep them all off. However, should I wish, I could turn it on to undemanding, where you then read the QRH if a failure was to appear. You can reset the circuit breakers, reset the malfunctions, you can blow a bulb, pull a CB, move a switch. You also have the human touch, so your co-pilot. So you get 4 British Airways ones, a Boeing, Lufthansa, KLM, Northwest Airlines, Qantas and WestJet. Now, some people will not use Microsoft or P3D or X-Plane, they'll just have PSX on its own. You can control the weather manually. I've got it set that it downloads the current meters for the world, and MSFS downloads the current meter from its weather source, and they pretty much are seamless between the two. You can change aerodynamics, so the stabilizer, center of gravity, fuel quantity. You can move your position anywhere in the world. Copy real world time, or you can change the time. You can also change the season. You can choose different models, so just now we are British Airways, CIVZ. We can choose Atlas Air. We can choose Air New Zealand, Singapore Cargo. So you've got all the different types and modifications. The airframe can be CFM engines, Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce. Can be combi, freighter, passenger, freighter ER, passenger ER. We try and keep it simulating the real world airlines, so if it comes with the LCD version CDUs, then we can choose them. If it's not, then we can turn them off. You can work under the Mach 90 JAA or the Mach 92 FAA. Can change the minimum runway length. You can have uplink and no uplink features. If you use the NG license, then you would select that. It gives you a wee bit more features. Downloads wins for the corridor and segments, etc. And that is pretty much what Aerowings PSX is and how it links with MSFS. Hope that helps, and thank you for watching.